morning, Monday, hardworking ways, friends, viewers. This morning, we are going to talk Honda. We are in a story car. This car came to a family member. They bought it 3 or 4 years ago, low miles. And over the years, I've done quite a bit of work to it. I'm not bashing Hondas for you Honda people out there that love them and eat, sleep, and breathe Honda. But, I don't know. It's a good running little car. But when it comes to the maintenance, it's had some other very normal car issues. Or everybody else has them, you know. Manufacturing things and whatnot. We'll get into that. So, this car, I want to say, had 80 or 90,000 miles on it. Started burning oil like crazy. This is 2 years ago, maybe 3, and came to me in the shop at the time with a skip or cylinder misfire. I want to go through all this quick this morning because there's some really important things that I've learned on these Honda 2.4s to look for, right? Swap coil pack, swap plugs. It's not a plug, it's not a coil pack problem. Could have had a weak coil pack. Put the leak down tester on it. Leak down tester, phenomenal tool. You can use a compression tester. The leak down tester does it all. You can tell if it's coming out the exhaust, if it's coming out the intake, if it's blown by a piston, all of it, right? So it's got a bad exhaust valve. Burned half the head of it right off. So we yanked the head off the car to confirm it. Sure enough, it's missing half a valve on the exhaust side. So I take it to a local machine shop. Head was good, so we had the bad valves changed, new bronze guides. And while I'm in there, the guy at the machine shop says, "Yep, I see Honda heads all the time." Really? Yeah, the valve guides are terrible. They'll do exactly what they just did. They get wide, they start sucking oil past the valve guides, they burn oil. Eventually it gets hot enough in the valve guide, it burns the valve up. Sweet. There's lesson 1. Honda valve guides from the factory, known for weakness. So, not knowing about any other issues because the car came in skipping, stumbling, warm, excuse me, not knowing at the time Honda had problems with the cam phasers on these cars. Back together it goes. Head gasket, timing chain. We might have done a crank position sensor at the time. That brings me to another topic of this build. The car runs perfect, right? We put it back together. Anytime I've touched a timing set on this car, change a crank position sensor, any of it. Anytime I've touched a timing set, if this thing does not get a crank position sensor relearn done, which I was able to do with a snap-on scan tool, or it could be done at the dealer, you will get a crank position sensor code with a flashing check engine light, you know, VSA light, all of it. I have never touched the timing set in this particular, and I've done a little research, it seems to be a common thing. 2.4 Honda. It would be fine for days, and all of a sudden you get a light, and it needed a crank relearn. Very finicky about the timing set and or you touching the crank position sensor. Maybe it's just this one Honda, but I've seen it a couple times in the research of trying to figure out why I have this crank position light that won't go away after I touched it. So we've done a couple crank position relearns over the years depending on variables and repairs. So it drives it for a long while after the valve and the head job. Thing runs great to the point where that cam phaser finally failed this winter. Of course, it was middle of winter and I didn't have room in the shop really. The thing was in limp home. The cam phaser was locked up, and ECM, the engine computer, just really unhappy about the situation. It was seeing things that it didn't want to see when it was commanding things it was trying to command, and long story short, timing set came back off at this winter. Put a brand new updated Honda cam phaser in it. Changed the oil. No more rattle on startup. Had to do a crank relearn again. Crank position relearn. No more rattle on startup. No more funky, goofy shifting or lag or lack of power. All that was cured. So I think we did a kind of a pad slap brake job on the rear at the time. Just came back to me for rear brakes. The brake pads that got put on this winter lost a friction surface, warranty problem, failed brake pad. 3 of the 4 looked perfect. Calipers went right back together. Happens, you get a brake pad backing big brake pad that's glued to the backing. Spit the friction surface right off. So we did a brake job on it here the other night. It's got a little exhaust leak at the second cat. We're gonna fix that while we've got it and get this thing back in tip-top shape for the family member. But that's the little Honda conversation this morning. It's an 09 Accord. So I think that generation is like 8 or 9 to 14. There's a whole bunch of years they ran the 2.4 there. CRV, Honda Accord, a bunch of cars had it. Cam phaser, rattle. There's a bunch of tips and tricks. You can just change the pin, you can just change the spring. Look, I bought the part for like $170, a Honda part off eBay, because Honda wanted unobtainium money for it. We'll put it that way. Honda must think it's made of gold. That's typical of a manufacturer. So I bought the factory part in the factory box from somebody who had one kicking around, probably a spare on a shelf on eBay for like $170. Timing chain was cheap for this to change, never wear out. I changed it because I was in there when I did the head way back. The head was rebuilt properly, rods, valve guides. Maybe the valve guides will last forever this time, as long as this guy wants to own the car. But those are the couple things I learned to watch out for, because I didn't have a ton of Honda experience, and I'd be okay with not having much more. Everybody have an awesome Monday. I have so much content that I have to get posted. It's not going to match the day it was filmed. It's all good. Life is crazy busy. Keep up the hard work. Have a great Monday. It's beautiful out here. Hope it's beautiful where you are. If not, doesn't matter. Stay positive. Enjoy the day. Life is short.